So with this video we're having a look at create part in place. So we've got a bike here. We're going to create a little mudguard to go in the front to protect the rider from splatter from the tyre. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to edit into the fork on there. So I'll just find out what that one is. And just open that. So by opening rather than editing, it means that I can close the higher level if I need to on there. So I'm actually going to create this at this level on here. So just be aware that this is actually a family of parts member, so linking to family of parts members doesn't work. So just be aware that if we're projecting to sketch, which we'll cover in a minute, you'll see that we can't actually link the values if we're doing that to a family of parts, so that's just something to be aware of. So we're going to do create part in place. I'm just going to click OK on that, because I'm going to run all this on here. So I'm going to choose my my part template. Perhaps some additional template if I need to. I can now choose a material. So I'm just going to click ABS high impact. I think that'll be a nice colour once we create that. I'm going to ground the part once we create it. I'm going to do a graphic input. So that's going to ask me for an input of where I want this to go. So I'm just going to snap to that edge. Notice we've got all these key point options on the bottom, so we can use these to the side. So I'm just going to do that. So we do flip, we can do G global. So that's matching the one in the bottom right hand corner, and then I'm just going to left click just to confirm. So that now matches that one on there. So that's how I want that. I want to edit straight into place. If I couldn't select the key points, we can use our key point selector. And normally I try and select this to all as many times as we can. So I'm now going to click accept on there. That's going to give me a chance to create this. So I'm just going to call this front mudguard. We've just got normal file manager, just call it whatever it needs to be. If we're using Team Center, just take the next number and change the title on that. I'm going to validate and then save that. So what that's going to do, that's going to take us in. So if it hides, what we can use a keyboard shortcut, Control Q. It's called hide previous level. It's also available on the Tools tab over here on the left. Same on every version on there. So even if you're on an earlier version than 2021, it's still the same. So now we've got somewhere where we can draw a couple of sketches on here to create this. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to right click on there and just go to ordered. So notice if we're using 2021, we've probably got ordered up there, because if we're doing that quite often, we can just switch to order, right click on the background. Many different ways again to all ordered. You can do it on tools over here as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a couple of sketches, and then we're going to use the blue surf command to create option. Blue surf command is really good. We can actually just use two elements for that. So for the first sketch, I want to sketch on that face on there. So if when we hover over that, notice we're going to get our orientation icon, and we can use N to spin round either way. So what I'm going to do on here, I'm just going to pick an edge. So I'm going to click on here, click OK on there. Notice we've got the different options on here. So if we select single wireframe and select that edge, that's the one that we want in this instance. Notice we haven't got a link. So notice to maintain associativity, because we're in a family of parts, we haven't got that. And now what I'm going to do, I want to do a couple of construction lines. So select line, select create as construction. I'm going to do a line up the center. Make sure you snap to the point. Slow down, Chris. So what I want to do now is click on offset. So I think about 47 is about right to where I want to go. So I want to go that side and that side. And then what I'm going to do, so you don't have to come out of commands, escape, press select. You can just jump onto the next command. So I'm going to go extend to next on there, and then select that and select that. So that's extended that either side on those two. So that's got the edge on there. What I can then do, because we haven't linked that, we can physically go and dimension this up if we need to. So we can select the appropriate dimension commands. So I want to do that one on there. I'm also going to do that one. I want to do that as a length. So if I press A on the keyboard when I'm doing that, that's going to select angle and length, A and A. So that's now fully defined, that sketch on there. These don't really matter. These are just a bit of a reference on there. But if you really want to get your sketch fully defined, we can do that and then equal those ones up. I could press Control and select all those at the same time. And then I'm just going to link the endpoints on those just so they're all fully defined. So if we really like if we use our sketch tool, or we want to make sure we've got our relationship colors on, we can get that where that needs to go. So now we've got that as it is. We can physically go and control this again later because it's parametric, so quite useful. So I'm now going to close out of that sketch. I'm just going to save that just as a good thing to do, just to remember that. And now I want to do another sketch. So I'll do the sketch on here. So what I'm just going to spin this around a little bit. Just use press the middle scroll button just to spin that around slightly. And I want to go to my curves option where I do arc by 3 points. So for the first one, I'm not really worried about the first one. It's this one that I really want to make sure that I get that set option. So if we go on there and right click, make sure we're getting that pierce point. So it's where it's meeting that line, going through the other sketch, and then drag that down there. You can do Control R on the keyboard while you're doing this to kind of get the shape right. So now I've got that roughly where that wants to be. Now I want to do concentricity with a center of my axle on there. So remember, we haven't got projector sketch maintained. So what we're going to do, we're going to projector sketch, select an appropriate edge on there, and then what I'm doing, I'm just going to go and lock that edge. So go on there, click on that, and it's going to give us a little red pin icon. So we've now locked that. And then we're going to use the concentric command. So I'm going to select that and that edge. That's going to now make that concentric to there. So to control how far this goes forward and back, I'm just going to pop a dimension to the front. So let's just stick with what it's pretty much at. So I'll do 150 that way. Let's do it a little bit longer on the back. So I want to extend that. So I want to go 225 on there. Obviously, as we go bigger, that's going to get much longer. So if we've got our relationship colors on and we're not sure this is kind of fully defined, we can go on there and just drag that and go, oh, actually, we haven't actually connected that up. Okay, so now we've got that there, we're going to use the connect command. So what we're going to do, we can select the line and that. So when we're doing this, we need to find the pierce point first. So if we go there, find the pierce point, and then click on the line, that's then going to go black. So that's now fully defined. So if we go on there, we can see that we've got that as it is. So if we then close that sketch, I'm just going to call that sweep. So that's our sweep forwards and backwards. We could have called that our profile or something along those lines. So we're not going to close and return. If we do, make sure we go back to front Mudguard and right click and edit back into that, just so you go into there. So we'll go to surface in. We're going to go into the blue surf command. So we should get the command bar pop up at the top or pop up on the left if we're running that way. So here we've got these little options showing my cross section. So that's that line on there. We're then going to accept that. We're going to jump to the next step. We could select multiple cross sections, so it's asking us for more, so we need to physically go, nope, I want to go to that step now. And then we're going to go and select the sweep that we're going to use on that part. So that's going to give us a surface linked to those. If we do a right view on here again, we can see that it's doing something a little bit strange. It's narrow here and thin. So if we go and change these settings on here, and change that normal to section, that's going to even that up. So it's kind of running along, so it's doing more of a kind of sweep on there. So what I'm going to do is do an accept, next and finish on that, and just cancel out that command, just so we can't see that. So we've got our surface on there. So this currently actually might actually be clashing slightly on there, but I'm not too worried about that for this. We could always use a subtract command later. So what I'm going to do now, I'm now going to thicken that up, and then we're just going to do some normal kind of part commands to make this look nicer. So I'm going to thicken that up. I'm going to go down. I'm actually going to go 6 on this. No, actually, let's go 8. So we're going to add some thickness on there. And now we've got that on there. So what we can do now, we can kind of think how we can use thin wall to make this thinner, because we've got some nice sides, and how we can kind of round the sides and stuff to get that how we want. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go and we're going to use the round tools. So if we select these two front rounds, we can go and say, actually, let's make those, say, 35. See what that looks like on the front. Great thing about this is we can do a preview on that, and actually at this point go, actually let's try change that to 40. Might fail, so that's looking quite good. So now let's have a look on the back. So what I might do, I'm just going to finish that and just do another one. So we could do this slightly differently. So I could do this as a blend instead. So let's see if we can do this. We can choose our different types. So I'm going to go conic on there. Select that face and that face. So we've got the value on there is the wrong way around. So I'm going to change that to 2.5. And let's try a radius of 40. So you can see what I'm going for on there. I'm thinking that's a little bit too much on there. So you can see how we're getting a nice kind of blend on there. Let's try dropping that up to 70. That's kind of how I want it. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Nice kind of shape on that now. And then accept that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I could actually just mirror this because we're quite we've done this not nice and centered. So if I select that, remember we've got the two options: mirror copy feature, mirror copy part. So we're going to copy that feature. We're going to find the appropriate plane. I'm going to spin around there, easy. Just select that plane. I'm going to mirror that over to the side. Finish. So we're kind of looking there. So I'm going to do another round on here. So I'm going to click around, and I'm just going to change that size down to 5 before I do that. Otherwise, that's going to come up with an error if I do a really large round on there. And that's done all those top edges on there. So that's quite nice. So I'm going to accept that. Right click and finish. So now I'm going to thin wall it, and then I'm going to add some rounds to the edges that are then created with that thin wall. So let's do this 1.5mm thick. Remove that internal face. Accept. Preview. Should do the thin wall. Should see that done quite nicely. Finish. And I'm just going to do some small rounds on these bottom edges. So currently that's set to 5, so I'm just going to change that to 0.5. Make sure that I get all these edges highlighted on these. This is failing because it doesn't know what to do when it gets to this endpoint. So once we get that all the way around, we've got that with a nice edge on there, and then finish. So we could go and create some little parts to help mount it. We could create some holes, but there's a very basic create part in place. That's quite a nice option. I'd be tempted on there now to do a revolve cut and add a cut through the front and the back, just to make sure we haven't got those lips on the front and the back. So there's loads we could do. So if you want to carry on and play some more, please do. Thank you.